Oh man, I love guns. Something like this. But you know what? I wish I had something a little older. And now, I'm going to show you my top 5 World War II guns. Hope you guys enjoy. Here we have the M1911, which was a really good World War II pistol. The M1911 was a single-action, semi-automatic, magazine-fed, recoiled operated, chambered for a 45 ACP cartridge. It served as standard issued sidearm for the United States forces from 1911 to 1986. It was first used in later stages of the Philippine-American War and was widely used in World War I, World War II, and the Korean War and the Vietnam War. The pistol's formal design as a 1940s automatic pistol caliber 45 1911 for an original model 1911 pistol caliber 4.45, the 1911 A1 from the 1911 A1 adopted in 1924 to the destination changed the caliber to a .45 automatic to a 1911 A1 in the Vietnam era. The M1 Garand was a semi-automatic rifle chambered in .30-06 Springfield cartridge used the United States Army from 1936 to 1957. The rifle was named after the designer John Garand. It was the first standard-issue semi-automatic military rifle. Called the greatest battle implement ever devised by General George S. Patton, the Garand officially replaced the bolt-action M1903 Springfield as the standard service rifle for the United States Armed Forces in 1936, although it was switched to not instantaneous, and it was subliminally replaced by the M14 later on after Vietnam War. The soldiers called the M1 Garand the clinger because whenever the mags would eject, it would make a clinging sound. And that was something that was bad because when the Germans heard that clinging sound, they would pop up and they'd know that the soldier was out of ammo, and then they'd pop up and shoot him. So the military thought that a really smart idea was to, both you're on your last shot, and what you do is you take out an empty mag and you cling it against a rock, and when a German pops up, pow, you shoot him right in the head. And yeah, and that's the M1 Garand. The MG42, commonly known as Hitler's buzzsaw because it made a sound like a chainsaw, was one of the most feared weapons in the German army's arsenal. It had a muzzle velocity of 1,000 to 200 to 1,500 feet per second. And the rate of fire was tremendous, firing between 1,200 and 1,500 rounds per minute, resulting in a devastating carnage. The MG42 was used in the entire of the World War II, and it also was brought back in the version of the American M60. Which is a copy of the MG42 because of how reliable and how fast it shoots. The reason why it was called Hitler's buzzsaw also is because it could just cut through soldiers like weeds and trees. You could cut a tree with an MG42. It was pretty sweet. And the round was a 7.62 NATO round, which creates a massive wound, and it just created so much carnage that the United States Army actually created videos on how to avoid these. And yeah, no. I'm going to now talk about one of the most notorious pistols that ever made. Period. This is the hands down probably one of the most feared and most notorious pistols in the German army, the Luger Po8. The Luger Po8 was a semi-automatic, and it was also, they did have full auto versions of this pistol, but they had full auto pistols like the C39 and the C75, and what was really scary about this gun is it was used by one of the most feared groups in the Nazi party, the Waffen SS, used a lot by the Waffen SS to execute people and to just create massive. That's why this pistol is so well known, and it was also really common because it used the Walter P38 9mm cartridge. So if a U.S. soldier had a P38 and a German soldier shot a U.S. soldier with a P38, he could take his ammo, and they had a unlimited supply of ammo. And two, the pistol was also mass produced, so there were millions of them. And sadly, it only lasted really that long. Its service was with the German Empire from 1900. Okay, the next gun, this is my number one of my top favorite World War II guns, is I know the year sounds a little weird, the 1897 trench gun. The 1897 trench gun was made by Winchester and used a 12 and 16 gauge shots. Usually you could put slugs or birdshot in it to create a bigger spread. But this was mainly used by the U.S. Army during World War II and the Korean War and Vietnam. And they used it during one of the most notorious invasions. They used it in the invasion of the Philippines. They used it in Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, Midway. They used it in the battles of the Pacific. They used it in the invasion of Japan. It was just super effective, even though it was a freaking huge generations old. But hands down, probably one of the most powerful shotguns out there. And there is one American soldier who actually still uses them, and people still use them. Soldiers still use them, the police still use them, and even hunters use them because of how well they are and how well they're built and how well they can outperform some of the newer competitors of shotguns. And thank you guys for watching my review of my top 5 World War II guns. I will see you guys later in the next video. Goodbye.